Got that?
That's going straight to Lynn from Lake Dixon.
Call the March 16th, 2023 Prairie Planning Commission meeting to order. First order of business is approval of minutes from the February 16th meeting.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the February 16th minutes.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as presented. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. Rezone request, Matt Taylor from A1 to R2 at 11,660, 11,630, and 11,616 Cactus Jack Road.
And I believe he is represented tonight. You'll raise your hand back there on the left. Matt was out of town, but he's got some folks here representing him. He owns property off of the backside of Cactus Jack. This being Cactus Jack. There's an existing 2 or 3 houses back there. And I think the plan is then eventually to tear those down, right, and go new.
Correct.
And I think the plan is to build some condominiums of some sort similar to this triplexes. Is he still talking about a mix? I know one time he was talking about a mix of duplexes and triplexes.
I think it's more gonna be duplexes than triplexes.
Duplexes, okay. And the land, which you can see, this is what we're talking about back here. This would be Richardson Road over here, and he's gonna get his utilities and secondary access off of Richardson Road. JC, I think I sent you one of his plats.
Long time.
Long time ago, yeah. And so.
So that's still the same concept that he was,
Are they looking at basically the same concept, what Matt's been talking about all along?
Yes.
Yes.
how many units?
That's predetermined.
Because he had a redesign for a bit, and I think it's trying to reduce it to the elevation.
If I remember right, it was approximately 24 or something.
That sounds right, yeah.
Well, one time it was over, it was 30 plus, because you
I know
have to have a
it's
second egress.
I would say no more than 55.
Units,
Yeah.
Well, what's the requirement to have a secondary? Is it
30.
30? So if he stays under 30, he may not have to have secondary access to Richardson, so. He is getting his utility for Richardson. He's already worked out easements with the property owners over here to get over to the sanitary sewer that's there, as well as the water.
If we rezone it, does he still have to come back with whatever he's planning to do?
Yes,
large scale.
he will.
And I rode by there today, as you ride there, I saw a sign up there, there's a blank, or not blank, an empty field there, and then is it right next to it going around?
Yeah, the driveway starts here.
Right.
And this is motorcycle shop right here, but the driveway goes back quite a ways before you get back here to these houses that are back there currently. And they're
Okay, so
gonna,
he's gonna do right there,
this whole area in orange will be developed with a private drive through it.
okay.
The only question is, in the thing that we voted on, as far as like the future planning that we did, was that not in what we had kind of planned on being commercial?
Not that far up the highway.
Not that far off the highway, okay. Is it just right at the back of the motorcycle shop?
Yeah, right across the street from the motorcycle shop, where there's already existing grass bed.
Right across the street, motorcycle and the boat shop.
Motorcycle shop, boat shop, and then there's a bunch of, some type of automotive shop right here as well. And then this over here,
That's the dirt.
that's, yeah, it's changed a couple times. It was utilities 101, and then it was dirt something else, and now I'm not sure who it is, but it's a construction company. It's kind of surrounded by commercial property now on both sides. It does butt up to,
1 point.
Prairie View subdivision on the very back.
Which is in the.
What about the dirt road? Is that gonna be actually paved, and then you got dirt features both sides?
Well, it was gonna have a paved road out to Richardson. And we haven't got to that point yet, so that'll be dealt with when we do large scale. That's not part of the zoning. There will need to be some discussion about that when we do large scale.
There's homes.
And I think the city's already been talking about anticipating them along Cactus Jack, but I don't know what the status of that is.
Is there anyone here, public that would like to make a comment regarding this?
Well, what we were planning.
Again,
I just asked if there was anyone in the public that had a comment regarding this rezoning request.
What, can you remind me what Prairie View was? We're just never trying to, was it R175?
Yes.
Or 15 with the,
It's R 175.
I thought it was, but I was afraid to say it out loud. They are smaller lots.
what's the size difference between the two? What's the size difference between the two, 175 and two?
6,500 square feet compared to 8,000 square feet. Per lot, 80-foot frontage compared to 65-foot frontage.
Thoughts, comments, questions?
The commercial aspect of it is the one thing that I keep. I mean, it just seems so close to Highway 62. Even if, like, we talked about like storage just the other night about being more of like an industrial place. Set off the road rather than right off the road if we're gonna do it again. And that just looks like one of those places that would have a drive right off the highway. For more of an industrial or commercial type build, and it's surrounded by that on two sides.
I don't know.
Like that right now,
the dirt road. Commercial maybe, but I wouldn't consider what's around it industrial.
And this,
Well, like the dirt 101 and stuff like that, like, that's pretty, I mean, it's commercial, but it's more of a. You know, it's not like a brick and mortar storefront, large parking lot for like commuter cars, it's with, so that's why I was saying kind of
yeah,
that.
and I think, you know, from the standpoint of. Probably wouldn't be fitting for single family, I think we have a hard time recommending that, but in this case, it is a commercial. Residential complex, but it is a commercial complex, it meets the definition of commercial on the state regs as far as, because it's gonna be commercially managed and it's more than 40 units. It'll all be private drives is my understanding, so the city's not gonna be maintaining the streets within this development, it'll be a private complex.
I make the recommendation that we approve the rezone for Matt Taylor from A1 to R2 at these various locations on Cactus Jack Road parcels.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second to recommend rezoning from A1 to R2. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. It will go to, city council meeting, not this coming Monday, but the following
A
Monday.
week from Monday.
okay.
That was, yeah, sorry, I was slowly go. I'm learning.
Thank you. Next item is conditional use in a B2 zone at 11058 Leon Road for plumbing contractor service, Dwayne Thorpe.
It is.
It
It is. This is, I don't think we have any representation on this here tonight, do we? This is Morrow Plumbing. Morrow Plumbing actually contacted us about getting a business license about 3 months after they've been in that building. So this is an after effect request. We told them we couldn't issue the business license because technically they weren't in compliance with the zoning. The zoning requires in a B2 zone for a plumbing supply house that they have to be approved conditionally. So they're requesting conditional approval. It's pretty obvious the building over here, which is fire station number 2, spay and neuter clinic. Then this is commercial over here. It's cut out of the picture there, but there's another commercial garage building on the other side. I think from a staff position, we feel like that's a fitting use for that building, a fitting location for that building, but code does require that they get conditionally approved.
We want, I mean, I guess my thought would be for, can we put it, and I guess we can put a condition on it. I mean, limiting their outside storage to,
No surplus material and that sort of thing. I know that's been a problem with
Yeah.
plumbing supply houses, is they stack the toilets and stuff outside. Yes, you could make a condition that if they have any outdoor storage fenced, that might be a requirement. Something, or some type of screening.
anyone from the audience that has any comment about this request? That'd be my recommendation,
Yes.
we
Okay.
I guess, I'll try to articulate it. I recommend that we approve the conditional use for B2 zone for 1106 acre land for plumbing contract services by Dwayne. Is it Cohen? And, with the condition that supplies not be visible,
No outside storage is on
outside,
screen.
yeah. Second.
No one's seen it. No one's seen it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a motion and a second to recommend or approve conditional use. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I did go by there the other night, it looked really
Mhm.
Solid.
Yeah. All right, conditional use permits to build a triplex on West Butler Road by Troy. Oh,
And I think he is here with our representative as well.
We have to get into places that wants to marry them.
Oh, he left it already?
Except me.
This is on, Butler Street, kind of across from the, detention pond for Reed Park. Of course, there's already multiple multifamily dwellings as you go down the street. I think every residential structure on this block, or these two blocks, is multifamily now. It's in a B2 zone, so again, to build residential in a B2 zone, you have to be conditionally approved. But just looking at the landscape as it is right now, everything that's gone in there previous to this has been multifamily. They're proposing to build a triplex, correct?
Yes,
Triplex, and, as far as the footprint, would it be similar to the building next door? It is kind of a narrow lot.
was 57 wide, 40 deep, so you have your, what I understand, setbacks on each side of 5 foot. The R2 out here.
You'd be required to have 9 parking spaces.
9 is the garage included.
A garage can be included, they will have garages,
So, yeah, each will have a 1-car garage.
that would count for 3 then.
Right. So we'll have,
So you have to have 6 additional parking.
per unit, we'll have 2 more parking spaces up front.
Okay.
and if approved from here, it would not come back as a large scale.
It would not because of the size of the lot.
It's sitting, road by there, it's right between a bunch of digital property.
Yeah, well, there's actually nothing on this side of it, but it's, the property's all the way down the other direction.
Is anyone here for this? Well, yeah, or just. has any
Anyone wanting to
comments?
speak?
Yeah,
Anyone wanting to speak on,
all right, I'm making a motion, we approve the conditional use permit to build a triplex on West Butler requested by Troy Osborne.
Second.
have a motion and a second to approve the conditional use permit for the triplex on West Butler. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Approved. Next, preliminary plat submittal for Snyder Road, phase 6, 7, and 8 by Jordan.
Dave Jorgensen, and I'm here to represent owners on Richard Snyder. And we have the preliminary plat up here on the screen, of which it consists of phase 5 up there in the corner, right hand, right at the top, right there, which we're presenting the final plat on that. And as you probably know, the construction is 99% complete. They're in the process of raising the manhole lid. There was a few items on here.
I talked to Chuck today and he said there was a few minor items, but nothing that got to that.
Will amount to a whole lot, but, then you can see, page 6, 7, and 8. That, wrap around the south side of Prairie Meadows. The zoning separating line is right there on the east side of phase 8. That is R 1.5, 80-foot wide lots, like Larry was talking about. And then to the east of that are R 1.75. And we exceed all of the minimum size on those lots and width and all that. The phase 8 will have to go well, at least a portion will have to go in first because everything on the wastewater system drains to the pump station right there where Larry's pointing. Everything drains to that point right there, so, in order to construct houses in any of this, that pump station has to go in with the phase, that is constructed as in 6, 7, and 8, so.
And this will tie into Prairie Meadows on existing streets at
Right.
Langland and at, what was this, Hancock?
No. Wait,
What is it, Jackie?
Block, is it?
Chamberlain.
Chamberlain.
So it'll tie into Chamberlain and at Langland here on existing streets. And then one of the more important aspects as far as the city's concerned is it completes this collector street that is blunt all the way through to Highway 62. And I think they've gotten an easement from the property owner that owned the little strip between the highway or in the process of getting an easement.
Well, we don't have the easement yet, we have
He's
the
talking it.
agreement to relocate the access point to
To that
the
line.
Harper property, and, you're only allowed so many access points, and the highway department, requires the permission of the property owner to relocate the access point so that it lines up with, Blunt Street, as we have it drawn right here. So, the next step will be, for me to talk to, Mr. Harper about the, purchase price of what that, access easement is gonna cost to get from our south side over to Highway 62. And, we're fixing to start that little process.
And I believe, Richard, you and Memphis had some conversation with him already about that, right? Yeah, we've been talking to him. Okay, wait.
Yeah, they've been real nice about it, and, we do have the relocation agreement signed by everybody, recorded at the courthouse and all that, so we're good to go on that alignment right there.
Yeah, I know Chucky's in that loop because he was challenging some of these details the other day, so the city's aware of what's going on there.
But, yeah, the R 1.5 zoning to the west, has 80-foot wide lots, similar to, Prairie Meadows Phase 4. And, the remainder is, similar to Snyder Grove Phase 1 through 4 to the east that, they're building houses in right now, so.
And just an FYI for everybody here, this Blunt Street alignment will connect to the Viney Grove alignment, which we're getting ready to bid in just a few weeks. So when that's complete, you'll be able to go all the way out to the Viney Grove Road from Highway 62 along this Blunt Street Viney Grove alignment. So we'll have a north-south connection all the way across.
Just for clarity. The phase 6 or 6, 7, and 8, where everything is right now, that is west and south of where that is right now?
Yes.
Is that correct? So
Yes.
it's everything there, and eventually it's gonna be, I mean, that butts up against 62, right?
Right.
Yes, this is the southwest corner of Prairie Meadows now,
Mhm.
where those roads dead end. And they lead right into this, and it goes all the way down to the strip of Harper property that's between the highway and their land, but it's still a strip.
It doesn't border the highway right away because there's that strip of Harper property in there, but,
It's a narrow strip.
And as far as the number of lots, how many that were there?
Keep going.
124.
yeah.
And
Phase 8 is 35 lots, phase 6 is 59, phase 5, or 7 is, 31 lots, and phase 5, the final plat that's constructed now is 46 lots.
And this has changed just maybe a little bit. This is the same concept that they submitted to us
along that.
2, 3 years ago.
And then just one final question now. Any issues for the city with any supporting of this with any water utilities, anything like that?
No, not this time. I think the pump station is gonna be pumping through Prairie Meadows, and I think probably when that pump station is connected, probably pretty much max out those lines, but they still have capacity right now. So.
Okay.
Yeah, The pump station up on Highway 62 that presently, services, Prairie Meadows, will be basically, what we pump into it at capacity.
It was upgraded 2 years ago to handle all this, so that pump station's already been upgraded. And then we've also got another project that's underway that's going to route a lot of this flow along Industrial Park line, road, so that we can relieve some of the capacity on the 12 inch where all this flows to down. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna open up some more capacity down on the south side of town. So all of this actually is gonna end up going down Industrial Park Road, and we'll get the enforcement dealt.
And most of this was accounted for a couple of years, whatever, this was preliminary.
Yes.
I mean, the
Yeah.
concept of dropping.
The collector road that attaches Bonnie Grove down to 62, is there anything with that that's different than all?
It's wider.
It's wider.
Yeah.
Right. But it's 60 foot right away and a 30 foot, 35 foot back to back. So it's
It's
wider.
certainly wider. And the existing blunt that's already there in the old Prairie Meadows, it's the same way, it's wider already. We did that many years ago. To line up with the future.
Anyone in the audience have any comments on?
Had some questions on on phase 8, that west corner, looks like those three lots are in the floodplain. So it looks like we plan on building those up.
Yes, we are gonna have to, build those up and, submit what they call a, Loma F. It's a letter of map amendment to the fill material. And so we have to fill it up, and then we have to send this down to FEMA. They review it and make sure it's okay. And then it's kind of a long process, but in order to build on those lots, you have to elevate it just like.
We won't issue permits until we get that Loma letter. We've actually had the same situation in, Belle Eve, where they've had to do some moments, and Battlefield, I think there was a couple too.
Yes, there was.
So we've been through this process before. It doesn't happen very often, but, we have seen it before.
Will that, because I assume with those natural rains will cause any kind of flooding issues or anything like that?
No, the area that's,
I mean, are you gonna, where are you gonna redirect it, I guess?
this area down here that's considered floodplain is much, much lower than this is.
Okay.
Be honest with you, in 40 years, I've never seen it actually operate as a floodway. I've seen the water come up gradually and go back down in that low field. I've never seen water anywhere close to these lots, but they will still have to go through the FEMA process to get permitted.
And there'll be a requirement to elevate them 2 feet 2 feet above base flood elevation.
And engineer will have to determine what that elevation is.
Yes.
Anyone else?
But I assume you've given approval to somebody to dump some stuff, fill materials out there.
Yeah, I don't know where that fill material came from. That,
Well, they're continuing to dump, and it's now becoming a trash heap. Really, wondering if that could be cleaned up. I'm right at the back there, and in fact, they blocked off on Hyman there, it's blocked off where they've got to go east, and there's a narrow entrance now that these trucks are going through, and it's like this morning, this guy, I thought he was gonna hit the fence.
I did notice that that's happening over there. I'm planning on putting a cable or a chain across the road, because it's not supposed to be dumping back there.
Oh, good.
It's certainly not us doing. So we're gonna put a chain and a no dumping sign.
And I would suggest if you see somebody dumping, let the police department know,
Yes.
we'll certainly go after them.
Yeah.
We'd love to go after
fill material, but it's gotta be the right stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll have to be
Trash heap.
them. I'm sure Richard would like to go after it, because you're gonna be out the extent to clean it up, you know.
We will be cleaning that.
So what's the plans for the area on the floodplain there, and happening with all that property?
Well, we're trying to decide exactly what to do with it.
Just curious.
Okay.
Anything else?
Are there gonna be anything besides single family homes back there?
No,
It's not zoned for anything other than single family.
So we are the last house on Blunt. So it was our yard that they went through to put the sewage and stuff through, so we're right there. So our fence is set about a little over 2 foot inside our property line, so our property marker, and I found it. So what happens to that property? Do I need to move my fence to take up all of my property, or does that go into an easement?
The property is yours, whether it's outside the fence or inside the fence, that doesn't matter.
Okay, so I just didn't know, because I don't know if are you guys building, so you guys are pulling the berm out, and you've taken out a lot of the big trees, are you doing that, you gonna take all those big trees out through there?
All of them have been taken out now that are coming in.
Good, okay, great, because we were worried, because we've got some really big trees, and whenever they come down, I'm worried that the root system will rip up our fence as they go up underneath.
Okay, well, I wanna clarify on phase 5, all the trees are coming up that are gonna come in.
So phase 5 and 6, we're phase 5, and our neighbor is phase 6.
Okay,
So the tree that we're really worried about literally sits on our property line.
there's an old railroad bed that goes
Yeah.
through there, the berm.
Yeah.
And so, it's just a big bump, and so that'll have to be smoothed out to build houses there, and some of those old trees are in there. So, they would have to come in.
And that's kind of like our neighbors on the other side of us.
Are you on this corner?
No, the other corner.
You're on this.
Yeah, where they haven't started yet. So the neighbor, whenever they went through and they smoothed all that out, they damaged some roots to one of those really big trees. We had a big storm come through and one of those trees fell on the neighbor's fence. So who's responsible for that?
Well, we took the tree out, we're gonna repair their fence.
Okay, so we just want to know in the future, if something like that were to happen, through the reach out, so. Who would be responsible? 'Cause we have a couple of sheds back there with quite a bit of, like kayaks, fishing, stuff like that, and lawnmower.
Well, the roots to those trees, literally, if you're riding lawnmower, you drive over them inside our yard, and the fence, the tree roots are that big, and they go under our fence into our yard, so take down the tree, I mean, not. That's
Yeah, I mean, if it's close to the property line, we would like to keep those trees there. They're
We
not,
love that.
yeah, it's just if they're out where the building site would be, that's where they usually have to come out.
So,
do they leave the roots?
Well, where the berm's coming out, those roots would come out, but I think that berm is about 25 feet from the property line.
but there are some trees that they've taken out, like, on the other side where the fence was damaged. They took out quite a bit of trees that were further back from that berm.
Okay, well, yeah, I guess they did over there because there's a little swale drainage that surface drains the stormwater. And, it just kind of made sense right there to take those out to make the flow work with the design drainage.
And then, just like the last question is, and I don't know if you guys know this yet or not, but like, the property, the way it lays, one thing, drainage is a big concern for all of, a lot of us on that side, because whenever it rains, our properties kind of grade backwards. And if somebody feels really close up onto us or something like that, we're concerned about what's gonna happen with all of that water.
Yeah, we would not want to complicate your situation with stormwater drainage, and that's what the engineers are good at. They can calculate that elevations and make it, it's gotta go somewhere.
Right, yeah.
Those are fairly deep lots on that side too, aren't they, Dave?
Yeah.
So they've got quite a bit of room back there in the back. From their backyard.
I'm glad you addressed the dump site at the end of the island, that's important to me. But, what is the time take for these different phases?
We don't have that exactly planned out just yet. We're gonna focus on phase 5 right now, and then, we gotta finish the design and.
You mentioned that you had to do something in phase 8 before you did these others.
There's a lift station down there for the sewer that needs to be, We're still trying to decide if, of course, the market kind of dictates how many phases and how quickly they're done. But, that lift station would have to be put in really before you do any of the
Right, we're maxed out, everything in phase 5 drains gravity to the north. But everything, all the rest is
You're talking about putting streets in and the development of streets and everything.
Oh, well, we could do phase 6 and 7 if we put in the pump station and run the sewer line up to phase 6 and 7, but, we haven't decided to, we're gonna start down to phase 8, just build a whole thing out or whatever.
There's no time for that.
Could be 6 months starting, it could be a year.
Again, we gotta see what the market does and how quickly they move and keep it.
Just from the city's perspective, this is kind of, the preliminary plat is kind of like the first phase. Now they have to they got their permission once they get approved for preliminary plat, which the city council still has to approve that as well. Then they can start developing their construction plans, and there's still an approval process that's involved with the construction plans. That not only involves the city, but also involves the state. So it takes a while from this stage to where they can actually have okay plans and you can go ahead and start construction. So it's probably 5 or 6 months just to get to that point.
The 20-year plan was where phase 8 is in that lower flood area, was for it to be a park. Is that like absolutely? Not gonna happen.
At this time, I don't think there's any plans for that. My understanding.
Not even for the lower area?
That would be up to the property owner, but I don't think they have a desire for that right now.
Because it looked like his plan where the streets end, where your pump would be. We were wondering if there was gonna be a park. How are you gonna get to it if it was down in the lower area? And there's no access on that plan to get to that lower area.
Right, that cul-de-sac, right there where the pump station is gonna be, there's frontage onto that lower part of it,
So you could, if there had been anything on that, they could access it right here.
Right,
Okay.
yeah, that is, for that possibility or for whatever happens down there in that property there. The interesting thing on this is when we did Prairie Meadows, phase 1, this was all country back then, and I think there was was there a wastewater treatment plant down there or what was it?
The old wastewater plant and the old sprinkling field, that's all that's left, but it's still there.
It's still there.
They landscaped it and made kind of a patio out of it.
That's kind of neat.
It's real pretty.
In that old railroad bed that went through there, had a history on it, and there was a gas well, gas something there that they should have. Yeah. So
There's
this,
that old gas pumping plant that they were actually tied to the link well south of Prairie Grove, and pumping gas from south Prairie Grove into Arkansas Electric Gas. That's how they did it.
so it's been a long time coming to get to this point. I don't know when we did for Meadows, but
2006, 2008, some phases. 2006 was the first phase, and I think we built out 2009. maybe.
Okay, I'll make a motion to
Well,
approve.
before we do, I have one
Oh,
comment I
okay.
did make, and that's this. I want to say how much I appreciate that we have a community that cares enough to come in and the discussion tonight was very respectful. We've been in here a couple of times, it's gotten a little bit, chippy and tense, and I just want to compliment all of you folks who made comments and everybody that it was respectful and people got their things out. And I'm going to say this about the Snyder group. I remember the first night, you and I may have been the only, JC, the only ones here. But I remember Memphis come strolling in here and we didn't know who he was for sure. And they've been really good about, for the most part, I hate to use absolutes, I'll use for the most part of doing things they said they would do. They've done it and tried to be right by our city. I want to compliment them, and I want to compliment all the comments that were made tonight. That's this kind of discussion I can sit and listen to a little bit. There's others.
That's how it's supposed to work.
Yes, the way it's supposed to work, so I just want to express gratitude to all of them.
Go ahead. All right, I make a motion, we approve the preliminary plats, middle for Snyder Grove phase 6 through 8.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve preliminary plan. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right. We'll move on to final plat for Snyder Grove phase 5.
Carrying on with the same thing. This is the first section. Anybody that's been out to the backside of this is all complete now. This is, Baggett Street. So we have a connection now on Baggett Street, and then this would be Blunt, the one that we're talking about, that will, the next phase, go all the way through the Highway 62. So this section, I talked to Chuck today, like, explained a minute ago, there's a few minor things left to do, but nothing that he felt like should hold up final plat approval. If they paid all the fees and bonds, everything's ready to go, is that right?
Yes.
Anything to add, Dave?
I have nothing, and I walked it the other day when I was walking my dog, and Thompson did a really good job on those streets, and some of the best asphalt I've seen in a while.
Okay. All right, well, make a motion, we approve the final plat submittal for Snyder Grove phase 5.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right. We have any other business you want to have?
Yes.
I think, the mayor has some business.
What we would like to do is recognize our friend here, Lynn Gregson. Lynn, unlike most people, when it comes to planning commission, I haven't been around very, very long, but generally speaking, people stick around for just a few months, maybe a year or two. But Lynn has been around for 8 years, am I correct on that? And so Lynn has taken a job promotion, and due to that promotion, am I right?
It's not really a job promotion, but it's a,
A life promotion?
Yeah.
Promotion.
yeah.
And so, but with that said, he's gonna have to step away from the planning commission. And not that it's a big thing, but it was just something that we wanted to say, thank you for your 8 years of service with us. And we wanted to commemorate this night and just say that we really do appreciate your dedication and your service to us and to the city. Appreciate that.
I asked him to make a speech, but I know when Lynn starts talking.
The hogs are done. We have plenty of time.
Gretchen might have planned for you.
Got it.
Anything else?
All right, I will entertain a motion
We
to
did
adjourn.
have a cupcake.
Yeah, I'll say that. Anyone wants to stay? We have some snacks for y'all.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor, may leave.